My name is Jason Hammer. We got questions today. Is Aiden O'Connell going to play for Purdue? If Nebraska loses, will they fire another coach? What are we going to do with all of the money we're going to win today? These issues will be addressed on All Indiana Bets.
Hey, I'm Scott Long. I have the greatest job in the world. We are going to bet, we are going to drink our bourbon, and we are going to eat some pizza and wings. Let's do this right now.
Let's go.
This is All Indiana Bets, presented for the people, powered by Caesars Sportsbook.
So, Scott, remember that Seinfeld episode where George Costanza says, "I'm the opposite of every man you've ever met"?
Yes.
This TV show, All Indiana Bets, it's the opposite of every TV show you've ever watched.
So there's all these other pregame shows. You know they exist. There will be no heartwarming moment during this show. Never.
There's no good-looking people on this show today.
No, I know. Sorry, Danielle, I believe right now. Is that our current co-host?
Yes, yes.
Okay. It's hard to keep track.
We've ran through quite a few. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so Danielle is at some kind of convention where she sells drugs.
I'm sorry, what?
Pharmaceutical.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
you're talking to a Beach Grove kid. You're going to need to be more specific on what you're talking about.
She's the next coach. So what I will tell you right now
Cheap
is,
shot.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm just reporting the news. Let's do it right now. Sorry about that, Hammer.
So Purdue, Minnesota. Here's what we know. Moments ago, we found out Aiden O'Connell, the quarterback of Purdue, scheduled to play tonight. This was the question all week long. Will the gunslinger of Purdue be in the lineup tonight? Sat out last weekend, didn't practice a lot this weekend, and this is a big one. Minnesota is good, and the Boilers are going on the road here, Scott. This is a pretty big line, but it's down from yesterday with the news of O'Connell back in the lineup. What do you think?
Okay, so it was 11.5 or 12 this week. I played it then. That's when I thought it was going to be one of my 5 picks. I still like Purdue in this circumstance. I think Purdue is a great underdog in this situation. So ultimately, I like Purdue in this spot. I wouldn't put a lot of money on it, though.
If I have to pick something in this game, and again, the unknown is the health of Aiden O'Connell. Just because somebody's in the lineup doesn't necessarily mean they're 100%. I'm looking at the total on this one, 53, because we know Minnesota can score. Minnesota's offense has been pretty strong all year long. But these are the types of games that Purdue usually steps up to the plate and they play competitive ball. So if you can get a little help from the Boilers here, I think the total makes sense. Over 53. That's an unofficial play for me on this one. If you get a little help from Purdue, if Aiden O'Connell is even close to being himself, I think Purdue can score on this one, keep it close, but Minnesota's the better team here. I'm riding with the total. So that's one of the big matchups we've got featuring some local teams. We now turn our attention to what's going to happen in Lincoln, Nebraska. We've got the Hoosiers, we've got Nebraska. Scott, this is going to be an ugly ball game. Both fan bases not real optimistic about what's happening right here. We've got 5.5. It's the number with the Cornhuskers here. What do you think?
That's insulting to the Hoosiers, isn't it? I mean, Indiana's coming in, what are they, 3-1 or something?
3-1.
Okay, so they go to Nebraska, who is the most dysfunctional program in America. I don't know when that's going to change, but if I had to play a bet, and I would not put money on this game because who knows what team's going to show up, I would play Nebraska. They told me I got to make a pick on this. Don't put it in my permanent record, but Nebraska in front of 90,000 people. Frost can't mess it up. Seems like the next coach did the same.
Does Larry the Cable Guy still go to all the games in Nebraska?
He does. He lives in Lincoln.
Right. He's like a super fan. He's got like a suite, I think, at the games.
He does. I mean, he wears his best tuxedo shirt that's cut off of the sleeve.
Do you ever work with Larry? Because you do, for those who don't know,
I do
Scott's a
stand-up comedy.
comedian.
Yeah, I do that too. Hey, a lot of my friends have opened for Larry. Super guy.
Really?
Treats his people incredible. I've worked with some pretty big headliners. never worked with him. Wish I would have, because
We need to get some people that have worked under you to see if they say the same thing about you. Horrible guy.
Let's move
Rotten
on.
to the core.
Move on. What's your pick in this game?
Listen, you said the Hoosiers come in 3-1, and this feels disrespectful. The Hoosiers are lucky to have the 1. To be honest with you, the Hoosiers could be 0-4 if you think about it here. I like Nebraska in this one. Listen, Nebraska's a mess. They are. Their coach was so bad. The boosters got together and said, you need to fire this guy right now. Don't wait a couple weeks where the money would go down and we wouldn't have to pay as much.
It was like $7 million.
Right.
It was like crazy.
Do it right now. Rumor has it the boosters paid for the buyout. So at this point, the program has to reward the fan base. They have to reward the boosters. And the way you do that is you beat the brakes off of a bad team coming into your building. And Indiana's a bad team. Quarterback, okay, but everybody else, that offensive line is awful for Indiana. And this is a game where Nebraska can feel good about themselves. If they get the opportunity, they will run the score up on Indiana just to appease those that write the checks to the black shirts and the big red army there. So I will lay 5.5 with Nebraska. It's not a game I want to watch. I will check back on this one later, and I will see how much money that I've made.
Look, that was a great breakdown. I cannot argue any of that. Now, you think about Nebraska and its legendary, the 90s, it was winning national titles, and it used to just stomp two teams almost more than anybody, Baylor and Oklahoma State. And now both of them are great teams. They played for the Big 12 championship last year, a game that Oklahoma State kind of almost cost them going to that Final Four. And what really is amazing about this game is you would think Oklahoma State has all this like pent-up anger over blowing a game that they probably should have won last year. But the difference is they have played nobody. And they have not done well. They played Central Michigan. That's the best team they played. They played Arkansas Pine Bluff, which I've never even heard in the Degenerate Special. and even worse than Arkansas Pine Bluff, they played Arizona State, which is probably the more dysfunctional team than even Arizona State. Point is, Baylor played BYU, they played Iowa State, and they've shown that they are a quality program. It's at home. Dave Aranda, only 2.5-point favorite. I love the Bears in this situation.
All right, so we've got a couple picks on the board officially here. If you want a head start, or maybe you've seen enough of this show that you can stomach and you just want to get the picks and never turn this on again, hey, here's how you do it. Look above Scott Long's head. That's called a QR code. Scan that bad boy into your phone. You can get all of our picks for the day. Bada bing, bada boom. But if you want to continue to have fun, if you want to continue to have some drinks and some food and some horrible pop culture references, come on back and hang out with us.
Yeah.
We got a fun little game we're going to play next called Fading the Favorites. Conference favorites, but what if other teams won that conference? Where's the money at? Where's the value? We will talk about that when we come back right here on All Indiana Bets. Rolling with you guys on a Saturday, college football Saturday. We got more picks coming up, but first, we're going to play America's fastest growing game sensation. It's called Fading the Favorites. Okay. Scott, nobody likes to bet on the favorites.
No.
It's boring, it's anti-American.
Thank you.
Let's find the value here. Let's find some of these other teams in the major conferences that could, in theory, shock the world and create big value. So let's start in the Big Ten. Obviously, Ohio State is a big-time favorite, minus 230 to win the Big Ten. But if you take the Buckeyes out of the equation here, who has the value in the Big Ten? Who could make a run outside of Ohio State?
Okay, so it's always spoken about how the West stinks and the East.
Do they still do that leaders and legends thing that they try to shove down our throats?
For the West this year, they should, just to confuse people, because in general, it's usually Ohio State, and then Michigan and Penn State are usually not that much better than Iowa or Wisconsin or whomever. But this year, there is a big difference. There's only one team that really looks to be a quality team in the West, and it's Minnesota. And you're getting a lot with Minnesota. So why would you take Minnesota in that circumstance? Because what can happen is they go easily into the Big Ten championship. They come here, and something happens to Ohio State, and all of a sudden they're here.
Right, easiest path.
Yeah, 800. Is that what it says? 800 plus 800. That's why I would take Minnesota. I wouldn't take Michigan. I wouldn't take Penn State. I think they're going to eat each other.
Right.
Ohio State seems to be the team, but that's no kind of money. That's no fun to bet the favorite.
So we move to the SEC where Alabama is the favorite.
Yeah.
But I would argue they shouldn't be. Odds makers have Alabama to win the whole thing, the conference championship game and everything. They're minus 120. So there are a lot of options in the SEC.
Well, you're the Mr. SEC.
Yes.
So I want to get your opinion on who you would take in this circumstance.
Georgia is better than Alabama right now, and Georgia, I think, still has an easier path to the championship game in the SEC. I know Kentucky's better, Tennessee is better, but that's it. That's all Georgia has to do to get to the SEC championship game. I like Georgia here, and I know the juice isn't great, but if I told you you could have the #1 team in America,
right,
the best defense in America, and a quarterback fresh off winning a national championship at positive money, would you take that? I think you should. You would at least double your money. I'm riding with the Bulldogs.
Every year, I'm always on Alabama. I just think Alabama can't do any wrong. I don't like Alabama's team that well. I do think the Kentuckys and the Mississippi States and the LSUs can compete with Alabama. Georgia, you're right. I don't think they can. I would throw just like it's plus 5,000.
Okay. Now
I'm
you
going to
got
just
my
throw
attention.
$10.
Let's go.
I'm going to spend $10 on LSU because I feel like their talent is starting to show. They have a great coach now.
You're a Brian Kelly guy.
Yeah, but their special teams was horrible the first game. They're getting that fixed. I think they're going to do this. $10. LSU, give them a chance. You know their talent can win a national title. It just happened 3 years ago.
The value is almost too good not to play.
Just a
right?
little bit.
Let's go to the ACC where Clemson, the heavy favorite, minus 140. Scott, anybody else in the ACC? I got to be honest with you. I think the ACC is far behind the SEC and the Big Ten. I don't think Clemson is in the same league as some of the favorites that we talked about. But is there anybody else that could make a little noise here and win this conference?
I have made the joke of all jokes during this whole time we've done this show, especially last year when the guy that was a backup offensive lineman went down to his knee and proposed to his girlfriend.
The Florida State kid.
After they lost on a Hail Mary to like a Division III team, the worst. I like this team. I watched them against LSU. They really are playing well, and they've continued to play well to the point where I'm like, is there a reason why they couldn't beat Clemson? I know Miami can't. I saw that Wake Forest almost did. So I would throw some money towards Florida State. I feel like their talent and speed is actually playing, so that would be my choice.
Give me NC State, and we're going to find out today if they're legit or not. NC State and Clemson today. The best juice you're going to get is today. Because after today, either it's going to be sky high or even lower, and they already would have lost to Clemson. So if you're thinking about hitching your wagon to the Wolfpack here, do it now. Today's the day. I'm not sold. I'm not in love with the Clemson quarterback. I feel like they are obligated to play him because of all the alleged recruiting things that took place to get him there. All right, let's get to some other picks here. Let's go to Scott, your second official play on this day where we are running the table.
Yeah. So, boy, have you seen Northwestern this year, Hammer?
I give you that level of introduction, and we're going with this?
I know. Here, Northwestern, let's go over who they've lost to, okay? They lost to, I believe, Miami of Ohio. They lost to Southern Illinois. Didn't even know they had a football team. I thought the Salukis.
I didn't know there was a Southern Illinois.
No, they do basketball. Bruce Weber was there. It was a good time way back. The point I would tell you is that Penn State's not known for really caring about these kind of games. They got a week off after that, and then they play Michigan. Northwestern has won one Big Ten game. They actually sit in first place in the West, even though they're 1-3. 25 points is too much. This is the kind of game where Fitzgerald figures things out. He keeps it close. All of a sudden, I don't know, Penn State probably gives up a backdoor cover. I just think that's too many points in a disinterest Nittany Lions team.
That reeks of a backdoor cover,
Kinda
right?
does.
That's the kind of game where Penn State's going to be up 35-0, and then
I don't want it
late
to
in
be
the
that
second
high.
half, you get that garbage time touchdown or two, and it beats you. For my second pick, of course I'm going to the SEC here. And what have we always said? If all things are equal, the better quarterback that's getting points is where you should play. Kentucky's got the better quarterback. Kentucky's got the better defense. If you watched Kentucky against Florida earlier this year, Florida's quarterback, one of the most athletic guys you're going to find. They did a great job of shutting him down. And if you're a Kentucky backer, you're getting almost a touchdown here. So if that's not enough information for you, how about this? The Kentucky running back has one of the greatest names in college football. Cavassier Smoke. Sounds like something Tim Meadows would do on an episode of The Ladies' Man. Thank you to the 10 people that got that reference. So give me Cavassier Smoke. I want all the Cavassier Smoke. Give me the Wildcats with the better quarterback getting 6.5. I don't know if they win the game, but we just need them to hang around. I'll take the Wildcats here. When we come back.
No, not yet. I got to say this right now. You bring up Tim Meadows. 2 weeks in a row in the early 2000s, he bumped me from headlining weeks at a comedy club. So very bitter about Meadows. Okay, now you can do your job. I'm sorry.
Now I'm really all in on Kentucky. Let's go Cavassier Smoke.
Makes no sense.
The long shot, the Degenerate Special.
Sounded
We
good.
give the people what they want. It's coming up next.
The Long Shot, presented for the people by Caesars Sportsbook.
You know, a lot of people always ask us, do you guys really drink on the show?
Sure do.
To which my response is, have you met us? Look at this awesome array that we've got right here. The Evan Williams is flowing. We're making college football picks. And now it's time to make some cash with the long shot.
Oh my gosh, the long shot, it just feels good every time. Sponsored by Caesars Sportsbook. And look who appears!
Oh, you homer. Homer.
Look, did Scott pick Iowa against Michigan in the Big Ten championship? That it was that debacle? I did not. There is one place, though, as even Jim Harbaugh brought up this week, where top 5 teams go to die. And that is Kinnick Stadium. 6 times top 5 teams have shown up to Kinnick Stadium, and 5 of them that were top 5 teams lost. The other one, Penn State, won on the last play of the game. And this is many times not a top 5 or 10 Iowa team. These are unranked Iowa teams, just like today. Jim Harbaugh, 3 times in his career, played Iowa, lost all 3. The last time he came to Iowa City, he lost. This is just a bad spot for Michigan. Iowa, no, they cannot score, but they very likely have either the number 1 or number 2 defense in the country. I would put them right there with Georgia. It's kind of crazy, but I love Iowa in this circumstance with getting those many points. I would sprinkle that money line.
Oh, there
5
it
of
is.
6 have covered outright in this spot. And the first quarter's over and your brain is spinning and the people are waving to those great kids in the children's hospital and you're like, what is happening here? And our locker room is pink. It is a mental game. I'm done. I used way too much time, but that's where I feel.
I love it. That's a dangerous spot for Michigan today. And Scott gets fired up when we're talking about Big Ten football.
I do.
Top 5 teams, Kinnick Stadium.
Yes.
You know what I want to talk about? a team that had a hard time beating Stony Brook. And this brings us to today's Degenerate Special.
Yes!
These are the games that nobody cares about. These are the teams that nobody wants to watch, but Vegas has gone out of their way to make a line for it. So I feel like I'd be doing a disservice if we didn't put a little cash on the table here. Eastern Michigan hosting UMass. Now I know what you're thinking. Why? Let me tell you why. UMass is awful. UMass is coming off of a week where they were shut out by the juggernaut known as Temple. UMass did not score against Temple. UMass is only averaging 10 points per game. They scored 20 against Stony Brook, an FCS team, and that's the most points they've scored in a game all season, 20 against Stony Brook. Now, Eastern Michigan's defense is Swiss cheese. They gave up a 50-burger last week to Buffalo, but at least Eastern Michigan has shown signs of life. In that loss, they scored 30-plus points. They also went on the road and basically ended the coaching career of Herm Edwards at Arizona State. So I'm going to lay the 20 here. This is one of those games where you're going to have to hold your nose and just take, your phone in your hand and make that bet. Look back at it later because it won't be on TV and find out how much money you made. Lay 20. We're fading UMass, one of the worst offenses in the country. I don't think they can score many points here. Minus 20. Eastern Michigan, the Eagles, your Degenerate Special. All right. When we come back, we will have our best bets of the day. These are the ones we feel the best about. These are the ones that we have studied the most on. So we're going to have some drinks. We're going to have some food. We're going to give you our best bets. All of that is coming up next on All Indiana Bets.
The Best Bet is brought to you by Evan Williams. Bourbon done right.
Bourbon is done right with Evan
yes,
Williams. We've got a little bit flowing here. We got the Evan Williams going. We got the best bets flowing. Scott, get us going.
Wow, look at that. MC Hammer. Like, was there a guy called that? Maybe there was. Young people, look it up. Zuba pants. Where am I? Bring me on. There we go. Okay, so Iowa State is playing Kansas. Everybody loves Kansas now, and why wouldn't they? They have been spectacular. The worst program in college football the last 10 years is all of a sudden undefeated, and they're playing great. They won at West Virginia, but it gets different now. It gets very different now. The rest of the Big 12 is really good. Iowa State's somewhere in the middle. Last year, Iowa State beat this same Kansas team 58-7. The last 8 times that Iowa State and Kansas have played, Iowa State's won by over 28 points. This is a circumstance where the bubble has been burst. Okay, you know what? Kansas, you've done a great job. Lance Leipold, who was at Buffalo, they brought him in. He has reinvigorated the program so he can go up the highway to Nebraska next year. That's what's going to happen. All the losing begins now. I'm sorry, our friend Scott Pollard. It's time to focus on basketball season. Again, take the Cyclones.
Rock, chalk, Jayhawk, and you're throwing that rock right through the window today.
It's done.
All right, my best bet, I'm going to go to a team that's got a lot in common with myself. I've lost 50 pounds this year. I'm a lean, mean, covering machine. You know who else is? Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky, we've been riding this gravy train all season long, and today they're at home. Western Kentucky at home has scored over 116 points this year. Troy on the road is 0-2. Now, yes, one of those losses was a Hail Mary to Appalachian State, but last time I checked, that still counts as an L. I love Western Kentucky in this spot. That offense can move the ball. If you watch them against Indiana, that was a game they should have won on the road at a Big Ten team, albeit not a very good Big Ten team, but still, on the road in a Big Ten environment, Western Kentucky was dominating that game and completely gave it away. That's not going to be the case today. Western Kentucky at home is an animal compared to what you see on the road. Lay 5.5 with the Hilltoppers here. I got Western Kentucky. All right, so let's say you're somebody like Scott Long.
Yes.
And you spent way too much money last night eating, sushi and drinking Cavassier and doing all those things those rich, snobby people do in the northern half of the county.
I don't like sushi. I call it sushi.
Let's say that you've only got $5 in your pocket. Here's how you can turn that into $50+. We call this Ballin' on a Budget. It's a parlay bet that you can make with just $5, and the payout is huge. So let's go to Tulsa versus Cincinnati here. Tulsa, another team that's great against the spread this year. I'm not in love with Cincinnati. They've had some wins this year, but 10 points is too many. Give me Tulsa getting 10.
Like that.
How about the SEC here? We've got Bama, we've got Arkansas. Is Arkansas being disrespected with a 17-point spread? Maybe, maybe not. I think Alabama's going to be ticked off. Nick Saban had a tough week of practice from what I've been told. So let's go with the over on this one. This feels like one of those 43, maybe 21 type of games. I'm not in love with Bama's defense. I think Arkansas will score, but I think Bama's good for 40. And then how about some Major League Baseball? Scott, you keep telling me your man crush about Cease of the White Sox. Well, guess what? He's on the mound today, and so is Clevenger of San Diego. So we're going to go under a little Major League Baseball tonight.
Okay, I'm stopping the ball in the budget. You are the busiest man. Last night, you were doing the homecoming dance at
Beech Grove High School.
That's awesome. Your son is the class president. Just a heartwarming story. That's our heartwarming story. We finally had one. Okay, now you're going to, after this, my man is going to DJ a wedding, but you still have time to figure out unders on baseball games.
Yes, sir.
I mean, pretty much nothing. I understand San Diego's involved in. Okay, go ahead. I just don't get it. I mean, it's better than golf things from Rob Penn.
I get you don't get it, but this is about making money. Of course you're not understanding it this season. So the Padres and the White Sox.
Ouch.
Padres are playing for stuff. Great pitchers matchup here. We're going under. And the Guardians, we're going to take them on the money line. Scott, I believe you told me that they were going to lose the most games in Major League Baseball when we did this program last year. I'm fading Scott Long, and I'm going with the Guardians on the money line. You put all these together, you make one bet, you spend $5, you now have $50. You can go get all the Lou Malnati's pizza that you want.
Oh, yeah.
You're welcome, Indianapolis. When we come back,
It's time.
oh, let's go to the pro. Let's go to the
There
man.
he is.
Let's go to the big, hairy American winning machine. That's what success looks like. That's what a winner
Look at
looks
that
like.
hair.
That is the Cashman, Alan Cashman. He's looking to make 4 wins in a row. We'll talk to him next.
Alan Cashman. Oh, and he's stuck there. How you doing, Alan? Can you hear us? He cannot. So I will tell you right now that the Cashman, there he is. I see him blinking. Can you hear us now, Alan? Are you ready for us?
Yep.
Beautiful. Where are you at right now, by the way?
I am in my dining room area, and also I have a big table
You're
out
very
here. where I like
specific.
to
I'm
work.
like maybe thinking of a city, a town, maybe a location.
Parts unknown, but no, actually,
Wow, he's got
I'm
like
in-
the bat
actually,
cave here.
I'm in Fishers.
In Fishers. Okay, so Alan Cashman, I know you've been killing it, doing baseball, everything. What do you got on tap for us today?
I'm going to take LSU to over 26.5 for their team total tonight. A lot I like about LSU. Can't really lay the 8 points with a road team, but they're playing Auburn tonight. Auburn, not a good football team. The best team they played is Penn State, and they gave a 41 to Penn State at home. LSU can run the ball, complete over 70% of their passes. I like LSU to score some points tonight. I'm going to take them over 26.5 points tonight.
Now, Alan, since you don't come in the studio, right now I'm eating incredible Lou Malnati's pizza. Why don't you tell us, you got any other games today? I don't even know. I don't really pay any attention. Is this the one game?
That's my favorite play today. I've got maybe a couple of personal plays I'm working on. I'm looking at this West Virginia line. If it gets to 10, I might take West Virginia.
Okay, now, so how would people get a hold of you if you're going to give me more lines, according, of course, picks tomorrow, too?
Sure. Go to thecashmanwins.com. 33 and 14 last 47 subscriber plays. You can get options there for $1 a week or less. You also can get a lifetime pass right now for $1.99. That's regularly $3.99. That's at thecashmanwins.com.
Now, I'm telling you right now, I've got this Lou Malnati's pizza here, and I needed 3 paper plates because it is thick.
Oh, man.
It is delicious. Poor Hammer is just watching me. Cashman, next time maybe you show up, you might get some food. You come into the studios. What do we got happening, Hammer?
So when we come back, we've got our final picks. We're going to refill our drinks. I'm going to get some of this pizza, and the tailgate will continue. The picks, the winning, the fun. It's all coming up on All Indiana Bets.
Betting lines for All Indiana Bets are presented for the people by Caesar Sportsbook.
Hey guys, sorry I'm missing you again in studio, but I wanted to give you my Mick pick of the day. I'm going to Madison with this one, where Illinois is taking on Wisconsin. It's Brett Bowl 2. Former coach Brett V. Lima is coming back to Camp Randall Stadium with a team that can win. The Badgers are favored, but only by 7 points. I think both of these teams love to run the ball. Wisconsin, only consistent thing about them is their run game. And with Chase Brown, with the Fighting Illini, he is the heartbeat of the Illinois run game. So I think both teams are going to really run this ball. You're not going to see a lot of passing. So it's going to be a slow-paced game. I know Brett Bowl 1 was a blowout with Wisconsin, but I think the Fighting Illini can do it this time. The points right now are at 43.5. I think with the slow-paced game, you should go under that 43.5, and I would take it down to 41. But right now, I'm going to take the under, and I will see you guys next weekend. Cheers.
All right, thank you, Danielle. Scott, give me a winner.
We were talking over-unders. This one is amazing. In the Service Academy games, the last 24, 22 have gone under. 22-2. Who can fight that? Not me. Go under in this game. It's going to be ugly.
My last pick, give me UTEP -3 against Charlotte. Here's what you need to know about Charlotte. They gave up 40+ to William and Mary and 40+ to Georgia State. UTEP's not any good, but they're a lot better than Charlotte. Let's lay the 3. The Miners is my final pick. Now, when we come back, we will recap the big board.
Sure.
We'll go to producer Peter. He's got something lined up for us. And we got wings.
Yes.
We got pizza. We got Lou Malnati's here. This tailgate will continue. You can't have a tailgate without food, and we're going to get to that on All Indiana Bets. Grandpa, come back.
It's my Joe Piper. So the betting lines here on All Indiana Bets are presented by Caesar Sportsbook. Here we go. We got the, oh, look at these. These look like 4 out of 5 winners. I'm not going to tell you which one the loser is because I don't know. But I'm loving Baylor in this circumstance, even though Oklahoma State's got the revenge. Northwestern +25, too much. Iowa +10.5. Kinnick Magic, Iowa State, bow! The bubble has been burst in Kansas, and 22 out of the 24 Service Academy games have gone under. Play that, you cannot defeat it.
So I'm going to take a look at Nebraska taking on the Hoosiers today. This is a game where Nebraska has to appease that angry fan base. This is the day they get right against a bad Indiana team. It's less than a touchdown. I'm in. It's 5.5. Kentucky getting points. I liked it better at 7 yesterday. It's down to 6.5, but the better quarterback and the better defense is getting points. And now I'd like to bring your attention to Eastern Michigan.
Did an Ohio State grad spell Michigan?
This is what happens when you make a Degenerate Special. Everything goes off the window.
Right.
The spelling, the logic. I like Eastern Michigan -20 for our Degenerate Special. Western Kentucky. We're going to lay 5 with the Hilltoppers. And UTEP, the Miners, we're fading Charlotte. Charlotte stinks. Now, with that being said, these are our picks. Producer Peter, in the room where you are isolated, was this your work here?
Yeah, listen, you know where I went to college, Hammer, right?
Yes, the same place I did.
They don't teach spelling there.
In the same conference, and he still can't spell Eastern Michigan. Please
who?
don't. No, don't. No,
I don't.
excuses.
Never heard of them before. Is that a state? Is Michigan a state?
Come on.
I don't know, but Michigan clearly is.
Yeah.
What do you got for us, Peter?
Who cares? All right, here we go. What was the first lesson my mom taught me, Scott? Do you remember?
Boy, there's a joke, Peter, you don't want to hear.
Yeah, we'll
I would
skip it.
advise just to make your pick.
I am a
Don't tee him up for
comedian.
Mario.
There's blood running down from my tongue.
I was trying to get Scott fired there. He didn't take the bait. So there we go. We're gonna
Well,
take
your spelling's doing a good job for you.
We're taking a trio of unders. Kentucky, Ole Miss, under 55, 2 elite defenses. Mark Stoops gonna run the ball. We'll go under. Rutgers, Ohio State, under 58. I realize Ohio State could score 60 by themselves. I'm praying Rutgers can keep them under 45. I think they can. Rutgers offense is terrible. And then the last one, Wazoo, Cal, under 53. Both defenses looked terrible last week, but over the course of the season, they've both been pretty good. Neither offense is great. Again, slow-paced game. We'll go under 53. Trio of unders. Scott keeps his job. I think I'll keep mine. I'm going to go check with Peggy right now. And you got another Pete you got to get to, so get me off the screen.
Yes. We're going to say goodbye to this Pete. And we're going to say
just
hello
got
to this
beautiful.
Pete, the better Pete. Pete with Lou Malnati's is here, and we are going to dive headfirst into this awesome spread of awesomeness next on All Indiana Bet. Whether it's today for college football, maybe tomorrow for NFL football, you can't have a viewing party. You can't watch the games without pizza. And look what we got here. My man Pete is here from Lou Malnati's. What do we got here, man?
I brought all the good stuff for you. Starting with our legendary deep dish. We've seen one slice go missing from this pan already.
You're about to see two go missing.
The old deep dish disappearing act. I've seen it before.
This is so close to my heart, Pete. Explain how the sausage exists on this pizza. How do you guys do it?
It's a generous layer of sausage.
It's like a
patty.
cheese wheel of sausage.
Essentially, yeah,
Sausage.
exactly.
How would you say it in Chicago? You're from Chicago. How would you say
Sausage.
No, you don't.
Sausage.
Sausage.
Sausage. There we go.
Okay, so where are you at? You're originally from Chicago. You come down
Am.
here. Why? What was this?
Yeah, absolutely. Moved here to open up Lou Malnati's restaurants in Indianapolis, all around central Indiana. So we now have 4. These came from our Broad Ripple restaurant at 63rd and Ferguson, across from French Time.
Awesome.
So yeah, this is our deep dish
This is so
classic.
good, by the way.
It's the best of the deep dish. Now, can I ask?
Yes.
What is this? I've never even seen this at Lou Malnati's, because I always get this.
Right, you're known for the deep dish here, but you got other
Known
stuff
for
too.
this. Don't sleep on the thin crust.
Okay.
Can you get it?
I
'Cause
can. That's
I'm
what.
very
That's
scared of
That's
it.
what I'm here for. This is a thin crust pepperoni.
And you got some wings that are available
I
here
got
too?
wings too. Again, this is
gonna dive into some wings.
this is definitely the game day menu here. Deep dish, thin crust, wings.
And your crust is buttery.
Yes.
Just like that's what makes it so different between everything that's involved. Now, you guys are located in Broad Ripple. That's the big restaurant one.
Yep.
And you guys, you sell these too, huh? You can
That's
even
right.
get frozen pizza. A friend of mine, my neighbor, has grilled this thing and said it's good.
I've done the
work?
same.
Look
I
at
have
the
done the
special.
same.
What kind of special do we have here? I see game day special. This is right in my wheelhouse here. What do we got?
Well, right now we're actually featuring free delivery. So if you're like me, and then we're doing free delivery through October, I like to clock in a lot of my game days from the couch.
Right.
So
Right.
Maybe 1 or 2 deliveries a day. With this meal, 1 is going to be sufficient. But we've got 1 full-service restaurant and 3 carryouts. We also have Carmel, West 86th Street, in between Michigan and Town Line, and we recently opened in Greenwood.
Yes.
So
Okay.
all deliver. and so we'll bring this right up to you.
And if you've probably been on other TV shows and they don't eat your food, they just talk about it. I'm
We talk with our
sorry that
mouth
we
full on
have
this
our
show.
mouths full, but I mean, we're not going to pass this up. I mean,
Right,
this is,
you
they don't even
can't.
pay us for the show.
That's what I want my living room to look like. That spread and the helmet and the food. The only thing missing is me having the cheese and the sauce all over my face.
Oh my God.
One more time, how do we find Lou Malnati's Pizza?
So again, we have our Broad Ripple location, 63rd and 1st, in full service. We've got TVs. We've got a patio to sit on. We have some patio weather left.
Oh,
so
I'm there.
yeah.
Awesome.
Tomorrow.
Sit out there, have
NFL.
pizza.
Right.
Yep.
Order Lou Malnati's for your game day, and you will win every bet.
And watch us tomorrow at noon here on Wish TV, the NFL.